peoples. It's been a minute since I done did a video of my robe with my pajamas, y'all. But I gotta get back to just being completely honest when I feel the need to be honest. And I'm up at 4 a.m. because the jump off has been real this week. I have been subjected to being mishandled the entire week. This has occurred at work. And I'm not giving you all this to complain. I want you all to understand how you can be mishandled in various areas and not really think about how it actually affects you. This week has been very stressful for me. I'm only up at 4 a.m. It's a little after 4. I'm only up at 4 a.m. because I actually came home from work yesterday. We got off a little early because of the holiday, and I fell asleep on the couch somewhere around 5. Woke up at 8, still had on the work badge, the work clothes, and everything. Complete nightmare. You can actually see how what I've been through internally has manifested itself externally in my face. I told you all before about stress acne. It's real, okay? But I'm understanding that me allowing people to mishandle me is a bit of a habitual thing. And let me tell you why. Not only have I allowed people to take advantage of me at work, I do this in relationships too. I've done it at the church, and sometimes your family can be mishandling you as well. And I say all of this because some of you probably haven't identified with it. After reading, what is it called? What Happened to You? It's a book by Oprah and a psychologist. He's either a psychologist or I think he's a psychiatrist. They talk about people being yes people from a childhood age. And let me explain to you what that looks like as you become an adult. As a kid, you soak up everything you hear and see. Your mind is racing, it's going. Now, we all know as you get older, the brain slows down a little bit. You ain't trying to soak up as much crap as you're hearing every day. But when you're young, you're curious. Your mind is going. And sometimes we don't identify traumas while we're a kid. So what happens is you become a yes person. And you become a yes person because you don't want to make other people mad. Now, some of you all just heard that and realized that y'all grown tails is in the house with somebody you don't want to pee off. So what are you doing? You're allowing them to mishandle you. Here's what happens. You're no longer doing things from a place of passion, including that love life that you may be in that you shouldn't be in. You're no longer doing things from a place of passion. You're actually doing things from a place of obligation, including your work. It's not that you're passionate about your career anymore. You're just doing things out of obligation because there's a need. So what happens is you kind of lie down and take it from other people because there's a need somewhere. You may be in a relationship with somebody or in a house with somebody that you're staying with, and you're doing things out of obligation because you know that person is not taking care of the needs for the house. This is why it's habitual for me. Every relationship that I done been in, I done had to jump in and wear the pants, the boots, the belt, the hoodie, and the blouse. I'm just saying. Because there's a need. So now I'm sitting here doing things out of obligation. Sometimes some of y'all done push past the in love phase and now you're just there out of obligation. Well, if I leave, the needs increase. So now you're allowing someone to mishandle you because you feel as though if you're by yourself, there's a much more greater demand and needs by yourself. Yes, it is when you're single, but do you really lay there and let somebody mishandle you because you don't want to fulfill those needs on your own? Goes the same way for work. I did all of this week out of obligation. What made it hard for me is that I'm working on something that I've been subjected to partial training in, which made it harder for me to get through this week. The person probably shouldn't have taken off work because in finance and accounting, we all know that you have certain deadlines that have to be met. When you're meeting that deadline that requires 2 or 3 people and you're trying to meet it by yourself, thus the acne, it becomes very stressful. But I'm doing it out of obligation. Why? Because there's needs. What's the need? I need to pay my bills. So I'm allowing myself to be mishandled and manipulated by someone I thought I was hired to help. But it turns out I'm actually there because she wants to continuously take time off, even though I've been partially trained, which then stresses me out because so much comes up that I'm not aware of or I just haven't been trained to do. But let's be honest with ourselves. This actually happens all the time in relationships. You ain't ready for what that other person then brought to the table and you didn't notice about the ninja. Or her, sorry. The problem is you in it now. The needs are thick And it's either going to be, you're either going to do it or I'm going to do it. The obligation increases. So now we're allowing ourselves to be overly utilized. We're allowing ourselves to be manipulated. We're just allowing ourselves to be you. They mishandling you. Won't even realize it. And sometimes it comes down to family. The people you feel obligated most to is going to be family first for a lot of us. And what ends up happening when family does this is that it's not a joyous occasion anymore when you show up for birthdays and holidays and things like that. When there's a 50 million needs that need to be satisfied. Now you're there out of obligation and not passion or fun. This ain't even in love. I'm just saying. We're allowing ourselves to be mishandled because of the people that are around us and the needs that are in the air. And we're not even realizing what it is that we're taking a loss on. Yes, if you're allowing yourself to be mishandled, you're taking an L. Here's what you're losing out on. Some sanity, just a little bit, not all of it, just a little bit. You're losing out on some of your freedom. Because freedom means that you're free to do the things that you want to do, not need to do all the time. You're losing out on some of your mental capabilities because I was not able to come in here and take care of my house mentally. I had to rest my brain yesterday. Emotionally, you're distraught. I mean, let's really think about this, y'all. And spiritually, I'm not even going to lie to you. I used to meditate and pray to kind of help get through these days. That goes out the window because sometimes you're just too tired to even get up and pray and meditate because you've allowed yourself to be manipulated for 12 hours out of your day. You need to sleep at least 6 of those hours, and the other hours are obligated to people outside of work. It's too much. So I'm going to give this to you all as I'm giving it to myself at 4 a.m. in the morning, which I feel as though that's probably why God has me up at this time. I'm going to have this coffee and I'm probably going to lay my butt back down. Here's where we need to kick things up a notch. Yes, we are yes people because we don't want people mad. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to hit nobody's mouth. We have to learn how to be no people. We have to learn how to tell people what we're not going to do. We have to learn how to tell people how they're going to treat us and not how we're going to allow them to treat us. We have to identify whether or not it's actually worth us being in a relationship where we wearing the pants and the dress. I mean, what's the point of having the pants in the house if you got to wear them? I'm just saying. we have to identify, and we got to come up out of some of these churches. Sometimes it be our time to come up out of a church. I'm just saying. You get to serving in the church out of obligation and not because you feel as though you led by the Holy Spirit. It's time to come up out of there. I'm just saying, you should feel good about serving. It should not feel like a job, especially when you're serving and not being paid. I'm just saying. And sometimes you have to cut family off for a little while. It's okay to take a break. They ain't going nowhere. They blood. They're not going to decide y'all can't be friends no more and all that other stuff. And truth be told, they should be more understanding, especially if they know that you do a lot for them. Just saying. I ain't came across a few of you all and I'm sitting there like, baby, you're not going to tell them you can't do it today. They're manipulating you. Yes, you can be mishandled because of what you bring to the table. Just because you got a good backbone don't mean they're allowed to put a torch to it. Just saying. You ain't got to bend all the time. Okay? I want you all to increase your meditation. I want you all to increase your prayer life because it does help. And if you come out of it, it's probably because you're being mishandled more than you want to actually think you are. Okay. I want you all to go on this journey of making sure that we stop allowing people to mishandle us together. Okay. I love you all and I will see you next video.